Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talk About the Show, where I talk about whatever it is I want to talk about. And today I want to talk about Randy Pitchford's latest bout of idiocy. And now, when I say the latest bout, in case you aren't aware, the reason people have like this adverse reaction anytime Randy Pitchford comes up is it's very simple. I know not everyone keeps up to date with everything, but a lot of people, whenever he shows up in any of these state of plays or directs or anything, he shows his face, we get a little creeped out a little bit. And it's just because it's just like, how's this guy still so front facing after the whole USB debacle? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's so easy to find out. Just type in Randy Pitchford USB and you'll learn a hell of a lot more about this guy. Honestly, more than you probably wish you knew. So, tread carefully if you do search up Randy Pitchford USB, just to provide some context around why most people, whenever they see him in the games industry space, have an adverse reaction to him. Just so you know. But we're not talking about Randy Pitchford's past today now, are we? We're talking about his latest bout of idiocy, where on Twitter, or X, I guess is what it's called now, unfortunately, there was an exchange between a fan of Borderlands and Randy Pitchford, where the fan had brought up concerns over the new $80 price tag that Mario Kart World is shipping with, and how Xbox is also going to start releasing their titles at that price tag later this year. A fan of Borderlands took to Twitter to basically tell Randy Pitchford, hey, please don't do that. We'd rather you didn't do that. We don't want to pay $80 for a game. And then Randy Pitchford, of course, he responded. He didn't have to, but he did. Here is the word for word exchange between this fan and Randy Pitchford. Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. And here's Randy Pitchford's response to that. And just word for word, here it is. A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. So there are a lot of ways to tackle this. There's a lot of things I'd like to say here. I would like to rewind a little bit before this exchange, though, back to the Borderlands 4 presentation at PAX, where a fan asked that same question about the potential of an $80 price tag. And there, Randy Pitchford gave a more measured response, a more, dare I say, PR spoken response, a response that felt like someone told him to say this, as opposed to him just saying whatever it is he wanted to say. And in that response from PAX, which I will play a clip of here unless YouTube strikes it for some reason.
I'll tell you the truth. I don't know. That is the truth. I'll hit it. I'll hit it straight on. So there's some folks that don't want to see prices go up, even the ones deciding what the prices are. There's other folks accepting the reality that game budgets are increasing. Borderlands 4 has more than twice the development budget than Borderlands 3. More than twice. As artists, we want everybody to have it. We want to make it as easy as possible for everybody to enjoy what we're creating. But we want everyone who buys and plays a Gearbox game to feel certain that they got the better end of the bargain.
As you can see, that is a very measured response. I'm sorry I had to show you his face, by the way. Apologies. But with that statement, I was like, okay, it's not up to him. With that response in that moment, because Randy Pitchford's past has been so much of him just saying whatever he wants, in that moment, it really felt to me like he was just saying what he actually knew at the time. And that was a measured response that I actually respected, dare I say. And then he goes and does this. If you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. And I mean, hey, this is a safe space, right? I'm not going to say he's wrong, because I'm a big fan of Borderlands. And yeah, I'd pay $80 for Borderlands 4. But don't tell anyone, just you and me. You watching this, just you. I don't get many views, so don't tell anyone, okay? Just be cool about it. I'd pay $200 for the collector's edition, if we're being completely honest, but don't tell him that either. But, that's neither here nor there. But I understand why a lot of people don't want the $80 price tag to be normalized, even though that does seem to be the case. The most fascinating thing to me in this scenario, though, is that Borderlands 3 came out at a time when games are still $60. So it would make sense for it to be $70 because it is the next generation of Borderlands. That's my thought process, at least. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was $70, but I mean, that's not Borderlands. You know, Borderlands 4, it should be $70, I think, me personally. But in all honesty, Randy Pitchford coming out and saying this and it getting this much heat, if anything, I feel like it's going to lower the price to $70. If Take-Two or 2K, I guess they're the same company, which has confused me so many times before. Take-Two is above 2K is the thing. But either way, with 2K just having announced Mafia: The Old Country for $50, it does show me that 2K is more versatile when it comes to the pricing structure of video games these days, where yeah, the scale is apparently the height of the scale now is $80, apparently so. And Mafia: The Old Country is doing $50, a $50 launch price, which is crazy. I still think it's crazy. It wouldn't surprise me if they just go, yeah, it's just 70. Because 2K, they don't need to have Borderlands be $80. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if Borderlands 4 is $60 even. And now this is me getting too optimistic and thinking that 2K is like, oh, we make so much money on our microtransactions from our sports games, and Grand Theft Auto is always rolling in more cash than we can count. That's not how things go. So honestly, as much as I'd like Borderlands 4 to be $60, it's going to be $70. I think it's going to be $70 because of the fact that 2K has yet to do an $80 game, and I don't think Borderlands 4 would be the one to break that boundary open for them, especially because Borderlands is also the type of game that gets constant updates throughout its lifespan. So if you have that jump in price point too high, you're not going to get enough player base to really support those updates going down the line. You're not going to get enough people to buy the season pass or buy the future DLC that Borderlands always has. So I feel like 2K is seemingly pretty smart when it comes to price points these days. So I feel like they're going to do the correct thing here and just do $70 and then have DLC that is more expensive than DLC has been. If I remember correctly, the DLC packs in Borderlands previously have been like $10 each. That might have been Borderlands 2 specifically. I honestly don't remember Borderlands 3 price points, but I can look it up real quick, actually. I just looked it up because I have a computer right in front of me. I don't know why I was acting like I couldn't do that. But yeah, Borderlands DLC and Borderlands 2 on the 360 generation in general, I would say, was $10 if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course, in the comments below. And then looking at Borderlands 3 DLC, we're looking at Moxie's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot, $15, Bounty of Blood, $15, and so on and so forth. The DLC was $15 for each pack in Borderlands 3, so I wouldn't be surprised if Borderlands 4 has DLC priced at $20 each. And that's how they make the difference up for what could have been an $80 game. And it's such an interesting thing that we are having constant discussion about now when it comes to video game pricing, where obviously the vast majority of people are not going to be paying $80 for games. Like, I'm not paying $80 for a game anytime soon. Like, honestly, Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably going to be the first $80 game I actually pay for, because I'm looking over at Mario Kart World. I'm getting that bundled in with my Switch too. So I'm not counting that. I don't know how everyone else feels about that. To me, it's a $50 game, which is awesome. And then when it comes to Xbox, God, no. I mean, no offense, Xbox, but what games have you released lately that are worth $80? Even Doom the Dark Ages, which I'm enjoying quite a bit, that's not an $80 game. It's honestly barely a $70 game, if we're being completely honest with ourselves here. But I'm playing Xbox games through Xbox Game Pass, which honestly might have been their whole goal, to make Game Pass an even more alluring offer for gamers to jump into instead of paying $80 per game. Although Call of Duty's obviously going to be $80, and it's still going to sell insanely well at $80 because it's Call of Duty. You can't really stop it. Even with Call of Duty being on Game Pass last year, it was still like the second highest grossing game of last year. I think it was only beat out by college football because that game hadn't seen a new entry in like a decade, and people were very excited about that. But yeah, like in this moment, I don't think Borderlands 4 is going to be $80, and it will just be $70, and then the DLC will be more expensive than it was last generation. But it is mostly because it comes out September 12th, which is before the new Call of Duty. And the new Call of Duty, when that comes out, probably late October, early November, that is I mean, that's going to be $80. There is no doubt in my mind that that's going to be $80. And when that comes out and still sells incredibly well at $80, I think that is when the $80 price tag becomes the norm for like a lot of publishers, which is going to be very fascinating to see, because a lot of publishers are going to be like, oh, well, Call of Duty still sold amazing at $80, but not every game is Call of Duty. So Ubisoft, when you release the Splinter Cell remake or the Sands of Time remake, don't do $80. What are you talking about? But Ubisoft's gonna Ubisoft, I'm sure, and they're gonna release something at $80, and that's gonna do terrible. And then I'm sure EA is gonna be like, oh, we have a soccer game that could be $80. Why not? And it's just gonna be a whole thing. I really feel like Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to be that turning point for everyone, where everyone was going to try it out, try the $80 price tag. But then Mario Kart happened, and now people are like dipping their toes in the water. And then Call of Duty will be the first person that jumps into the pool, and then everyone else will slowly jump into the pool. But we'll see if they stay in there. You know what I mean? That analogy got really weird after a while. I don't know how to get out of there. But yeah, this started off as a conversation about Borderlands 4. I don't know how we got here. Well, I do know exactly how we got here. It was about the price tag. But to bring it back to the topic of this video, yes, Borderlands 4, Randy Pitchford talking out his ass, saying too much. You could have just said, it's not my call, it's up to the publisher, and people would be like, okay. But yeah, you had to say, if you're a real fan, you'll make it happen. And I mean, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I totally would. Again, don't tell anyone I said that, though. Don't tell him I said that. Don't tell anyone I said that. They'll come for me if you tell people that I'd pay $80 for Borderlands 4, they'll come for me. I don't even know why. I mean, it's a great time. I'll spend like the next 4 years playing that game. I put like so many hours in Borderlands 3. So yeah, I pay $80 for it. I'd pay $200. Like I said, $200 for the collector's edition with the season pass. I mean, of course, obviously. But don't tell anyone I said that. Anyways, yeah, it's just not a good look, and it's incredibly out of touch to be like, if you're a real fan, because you could be a fan of Borderlands 4, but everything is so expensive now. You can't possibly justify $80 for a video game when everything else is also so expensive. No matter how big of a fan you are, if that barrier to entry is just that much bigger, it could be what keeps you from playing the game. And I feel like Randy Pitchford is just being like, oh, it's just $10. It's just $10 more. And yeah, it is just $10 more. But like I said, everything is more expensive. It's not just the fact that the game is $10 more. It's the fact that everything is like $5 more, $10 more here. Everything is adding up to the point where $80 whole for a video game is just too much, when you need other things to actually just live your life. You know what I mean? And this video ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was. Here I was thinking this video is going to end up being like 8 minutes long. I mean, maybe it ends up being that long with editing. I doubt it. I said a lot of words, you know? But here we are. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Borderlands 4's potential price point, and or even just the $80 price tag in general. Will you ever pay $80 for a video game, or will you find ways around it? Because I can't see myself paying $80 for any game except for Grand Theft Auto 6. I feel like that's going to be a lot of people's, yeah, $80. That makes sense. I feel like a lot of people are going to have that take when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 6. And yeah, that's it for this video. If you made it this far and you liked it, hit the like button to prove it. And if you aren't subscribed and you want to see more videos like this from this channel, subscribe. Hit the bell button too. People say that all the time. So I'm going to say it too. And until next time, though, as always, stay safe and play some video games.